I just tested this in the real world, and it worked way better than I expected. But here's the thing, it wasn't the tricks, it was the structure. So in this video, I'm breaking down exactly what the audience experienced, what they thought was happening, and why this routine actually worked. This is the blueprint. Not what I did, but why it worked. Because if you understand this, you can build your own routine that not only worked, but get amazing reactions in the real world.
What was your card? Jack of Diamonds? How? God damn it.
I gave you a chance.
Fuck. How?
It's magic.
The opener was Prison Break by Jay Sankey. And this worked for one simple reason: immediate emotional investment. The moment you introduce money and the possibility of destroying it, they're in.
Oh my God.
They care. It's not just a trick anymore, it's a situation. From their perspective, wait, is he going to destroy or keep my money? That tension creates focus. It's fast, it's visual, and it gives them something to potentially lose. Plus, they walk away with a souvenir. Now, they're not just watching, they're invested. Prison Break, I wanted to discuss a few topics regarding this trick. Now, again, in the beginning, like I talked about in the test episode, this moment is so important when you sandwich their bill between the cards. Don't rush this. You need this moment burnt into their memory for the ending to make sense and seem impossible. So take your time, show them that the cards are trapping their bill in between them. Once you're convinced everybody has seen this and recognized what's happening, then we'll talk about the stapler. I said that a small stapler is good for performing when you're out and about, kind of for pocket management. But if you can use a bigger stapler, do it. Why? The audible sound. It just sells it better. So even with a bigger stapler, don't hold the tip here like this and don't mush it down and really slow, because you can see the difference versus holding the hilt and a sharp down and release. We come here, so much better, right? So we come here and then we come up. So we hide the method. Now they can clearly see the staple going through. And again, I talked about we want a lot of white space right here. This is a perfect card for this because they will see that staple. If this happened to be the king, for example, I mean, you wouldn't see it. It's just not convincing, and they may miss it and say, I never saw the staple. So here they will clearly see the staple. And again, let this moment sink in. Say, look at that staple. Feel that staple. They can feel the staple. Now, moving on to the next part where I go to rip the bill out. As I get ready to rip the bill out, I want tension. I want focus right here in this frame, in this moment. 1, 2. Actually, I'm going to need 2 hands for this. So that moment of relaxation, making eye contact, that's perfect, right? And it makes sense. I've set the deck down. I need 2 hands to get this out. And this is where we sell the moment of trying to rip that out and then hand everything out for inspection. So what a great trick. I think those are a few good tips to add on. Now we shift into the first real phase of the routine, the best stop trick. This is where structure starts to matter. They feel like they're in control. They can stop anywhere and it still works. That illusion of freedom is everything, because when people feel like they had a choice, the outcome feels impossible.
How could he get the king of clubs?
You almost had me though.
I almost did.
This effect gives you as a performer something really valuable: space. Multiple outs, almost self-working, which means you're free to focus on what actually matters: interaction. It's slightly longer, and that's okay, as it escalates. Now we take it one step further in the illusion of choice. At this point, they believe, okay, I'm making real choices, and they most certainly are. And then they get it right. Now I'm gonna dribble through, and you're gonna call stop anytime.
Stop.
Right there.
Right there.
Jesus, that was very
Fucker,
aggressive.
I got you.
Okay, you got me right there. I'm not going to do anything different. Now, look, you could have stopped me at any of these cards, right? They're all different. See, all different. And you stopped me at Jerry's Nuggets.
Yeah.
Right there, right?
Yeah.
Now, look, that card's different. That card's different. What was your card? And then you flip it. You show them it didn't matter because you were in control the entire time. It's not the 6 of diamonds because every time you've never picked the right card every time. That's because what I do is just magic. I just give them a snap and there's one card always and it changes. This is where the routine shifts from that was an impressive trick to wait, what's happening? The first phase proves something impossible. This phase proves something more powerful, that you control reality, you can make anything happen. A few tips on the illusion of choice, starting with the jokers. Now, as usual, I'd go through the cards and just have them pick any random card they want. Now, I wouldn't know what card this is, but let's say they pick the 6 of diamonds, they lose it in the pack, and of course we do what we do and control the card. Now, what I've changed about this is I've placed the jokers inside an envelope. Why? Because of the motivational movements. If I had them on the table or on a card box, there would be no reason why I would take them and then place them on the deck and then take them off. To hide the method, I place them in an envelope, my hands are both full, and I say, look, now I want you to see what's inside the envelope. I've got 2 jokers, makes sense, and nothing else inside. And you can check that out, a little bit of time misdirection. Now I can move on and say, now, what we'll do here, this is important. If I don't have a table, I'm not doing this effect. I'm going to do the in the hands method with Jerry's Nugget card. But since I have a table, I'll use the joker method, which I do like. I just need to come up with a few changes. And here's the most important. I show that these 2 jokers have nothing in between and that they can touch any card they want, trying to locate their selected, what was it, a 6 of diamonds. So they slide out any card they want. I take that card, here's what I didn't like, and I'd place it here and then we reveal it. Why would I take it off the table instead of turn it over? So I place it in between the jokers. I say, we'll set this aside for later. Actually, you know what? Let's try this one more time. I'll set your card there and let's pick maybe the ace of clubs, for example. So they can go through and slide out, let's just say another card right there. And again, it can be any card. So they slide out what they think is the ace of, what we say, clubs. So we place that in between and say, now we'll set this aside. You know what, let's take this one step further. I'll try this a 3rd time. I've never done this before. Let's have maybe you look for the 8 of clubs, for example. So they go through and they touch any card they want. Again, it doesn't matter, it's a free choice. Now, before I place it in, I'll say, you know, let's just believe that you found those first 2 cards, but let's check the 3rd one, see how you did. The ace of clubs, right? Well, close. No, not even close. You didn't get it right, but that's okay. Actually, I'll let you in on a little secret here. See, it really didn't matter which card you picked because with just a little magic, I could always change that card. And that's just such a cool moment where that changes. Now we can just set this down on the deck and I can say, but let's see how you really did on the other cards. Now these are out of the hands, right? So it's much more magical. This happened, maybe they thought you did something, but these were picked, and I think looking back, they don't really realize you placed them between the jokers. They were just set on the table. So you see, let's take a look, the ace of clubs, and the last choice over here was their chosen card, which was lost in the deck, the 6 of diamonds, and of course, it's a 6 of diamonds. So performing it this way, I really like it. I just think that we needed a better reason to take their card and place it in between, not just place it in there and say, oh, look, it's your card. So now I've done an impossible progression of, well, let's try it again and again, and then, well, let's take a look and see if you got the last one right. And no, you didn't, but hey, that's okay. The magician's in trouble, and now I correct it using magic. And then we move on to show maybe they actually got it right those 2 times, or maybe I used magic again. The illusion of choice, the in the hands method using Jerry's Nugget card. Now, of course, you don't have to use Jerry's Nugget card. You can use anything that fits your theme or story, But this card is so funny. It just adds to so many funny moments, and it's got a good storyline. I'll show you what I mean. Now, of course, we control their card to the top, and then we take this out and talk about the card. Now, I wanted to put it in an envelope, and I really liked this clear plastic protector because it makes it important and special. But there was one thing about doing this, or really any kind of envelope, is that well, the card got stuck inside and I can never get it out because of the method. So what I did to get around this was I added a card on the face. So I take this out and I say I carry 2 cards with me in this that are very special. Now I've since replaced this card right here with a card that shows the rules of blackjack. And I've got that coming soon. So I take this off and I say, you could talk about either one, but I like the time misdirection of first starting with my lucky card is this Jerry Nugget Joker. Now I can set this down on the deck from there and go on to tell my story about how I was at the casino playing blackjack and a Joker came up, which should never be there. The pit boss came over and took it and I said, please, that's gotta be a lucky card, let me keep it. So he gave it to me and that's why I keep it with me at all times. I also keep this rules card with me so I can study up on playing blackjack. Now a little time misdirection that gets set aside and we can move on. Now here's what I really love about this trick is that I can say, go ahead and hold your finger out like little pinchers. And they do. And I hand them this card. Now they can hold on to this card themselves. They can, like you saw in the test episode, my friend started moving the card around. I mean, nothing's going to happen. Hand it to them with confidence. Riffle down. Anytime, say stop. Go a little more. Doesn't matter. They place that card right there. They say, I want you to see. All of these cards are different. Tell me if you see your card. We go through these slowly, and I like to announce, and now we come to Jerry's Nugget. It just gets a laugh, right? The Joker. That must mean that this is your card. Not this card or this card. In fact, none of those cards are it, right? Because you found your 6 of diamonds, and that's my lucky card. By now, they're relaxed, engaged, and completely open to what's about to happen. And that's when we close. Now you hit them with a prediction. Prediction effects work because they attack something deeper, free will. The spectator starts to wonder, did I choose that? Or was it decided? Was it fate, coincidence, or worse? Was the choice never really mine? And then comes the kicker. The deck that they've been holding the entire time turns into a solid glass block. Now it's not just mental, it's physical.
I'm so excited for one more trick. What? Oh my God, Trevor!
Wow, that was awesome.
And now there's just nothing left to question. A few tips on the Omni prediction. Now, as you already know, most females, if you ask them to think of a card, they're going to statistically think of, that's right, the Queen of Hearts. Now, actually that was supposed to be the Queen of Hearts, but it doesn't matter. I think I used that in a different trick earlier. Yeah, I got it here. Okay, so the Queen of Hearts, you have a high chance of guessing this right. So if you just start off with that, you already got one miracle. Then you move into another miracle and have them draw a prediction down and you can divine it. But be honest with me, if you only watch this once, did you catch the moment where I switched the deck? This is a fantastic idea by Roberto Giobbi. In one of his lectures, I remember seeing this, where he talks about don't put so much emphasis and stress on switching decks. It's really that easy. You can just go into the pocket with one hand and come out with a deck in the other. It's just amazing what flies by in the moment of asking questions and doing things. So for example, even just saying I'm looking for something in my pocket and you reach in and you say, oh, you know, here's a pin and you come out. I mean, that deck switch, it really does fly by. It's that easy. Now there are so many gimmicks and other ways to do it which are awesome. I'm just wanting to show you another method that I learned to do this. Another added convincer is adding some detail to the deck to be switched in and out to make it seem more impossible that they're different decks. So for example, if I take 2 queens and I say, look, we'll place the queens there and we won't need these anymore, you box them up or just leave them like this, a little bit of time misdirection, and we come back to this and say, actually, you know what, won't need these queens, and you set them aside, and this is the switched in deck. Now to them, this has to be the same deck because of that little added convincer. Another thing is sometimes just taking a regular card box and putting a big sticker on it, or talk about it earlier on like it doesn't really mean anything and it's just an incidental thing. But later when that box is switched out and in and the new deck or box is here and has the same sticker, they're convinced that's the exact same deck. So those are just a few ideas that I added as far as convincers. So what changes did I make to the routine? Well, first of all, now I only use 1 card on top and 1 on bottom of the Omni deck. I take my blank card and I let them draw their thought of object. When I take the card back, I apparently place it back into the center of the deck. This is the part that we need to really slow down and focus on, because I want them to remember this moment, that their card is not on top and their card is not on the bottom. At this moment, although I could take a peek, I don't want to. I intentionally don't want to, because there's too much heat. The moment isn't right. I want to go into now saying, okay, who would like to help me? Why don't you hold out your right hand? No, are you right-handed or left-handed? Left hand. Okay, let's do this. Hold out your left hand like this. Now this is the moment where you peek, right? It makes sense. I say, hold your hand like this. I'm supposed to be looking at that spot. And I'm coming forward with the deck and I have a clear view. At this point, another thing that's important is I don't just hand them the deck like this, because I've done that before and things move around. So what I do is their hand is in this position. I now take the deck end for end and I put it in their hand until they squeeze. Everything's in position, locked in. I have them take their other hand on top, and now I place my hand on top to control the situation from there on out. I reveal their card, however you want. Now I say I'm going to try to find it from the center of the deck. I reach in and I pull a card out, and it happens to be their drawing. Now from here, I'm still holding on because I don't want them to reveal the moment early. The big finish is coming, whatever magical gesture I want to do, and now I let go and say, take a look. I step back, silence. Let this moment sink in. They open it up and they see that they're holding on to a clear glass block. I mean, it's amazing. Let it settle, let them react. So these are a few changes and things that I've modified because of messing up a lot. That's how we get better. And I hope you enjoyed them. So what actually made this routine work? It wasn't the tricks. Those are just ingredients, and ingredients can be swapped. It was this progression: an emotional hook, illusion of control, loss of control, and an impossible ending. That's the blueprint. Now here's the problem. Even if you build something like this, most hobbyists only perform it several times and then they move on to other routines. They quickly forget how to perform this routine. They never come back to what actually worked. So in the final episode, The Limitless Tip, I'm going to show you exactly how I store and organize my routines so you can come back to them at any time, relearn them almost instantly, and build a library of real-world workers. I'll see you next time in the Magic Lab.